We had a monster winter this year. The snowpack is super high, so we're going to have some flooding.
They've got more snow than they've ever had up the canyon because they're actually measuring it. And so we are asked to volunteer to fill sandbags, and there is a science to sandbags, whether you're dodging water or you're dodging bullets. The best sandbags are the ones that are the most usable, and they're only half full. Turns out on sandbags there's a correct way to do it and a correct way to use them. And we'd like you to know that so it can help you the most.
Hey Provident Preppers, I'm Jonathan and this is Jim, and he's joined us today because he knows a lot about sandbags and what works and what doesn't work, and we're going to show all that here. There's several reasons you might want sandbags. Of course, the most obvious is that of flooding. Flooding like we're anticipating here causes a lot of damage, and we can mitigate a lot of that if we have sandbags. You could also use these sandbags for radiation protection if in the event, the horrible event that we ever had some kind of a nuclear event. These are masks. They provide protection against radiation. So strategically placing those would do that. And of course, if you're in the military, you want sandbags so you don't get bullets. So Jim, tell us a little bit about the different things we've got going on here and how to do it.
Okay. There are many ways to fill sandbags. The old tried and true way is you roll the collar of the bag down. The other person picks up the sand and he lays one shovelful at the bottom, and then you hold the top and he shovels it in. They shovel it in. When the bag is half filled, you lift and secure it, and you can tie it if you want to. Tying is just removing the bags. Many people think the tie is permanent placement, but you actually take the knot out in order to get the bags to lie correctly. And so that's how you fill one bag at a time. A very smart individual came up with the poly bagger, and what it does is you do it 6 bags at a time. What we have here is a definite improvement on filling bags. You turn the machine upside down, you slide the bags on the tubes. The tubes are engineered to be the correct fill for each bag. So each bag is 35 to 40 pounds, which makes it perfect. You do 6 at a time. You shovel the dirt into the top, and when the back tubes are filled, you wiggle the device and lift it, and you have 6 full bags, and you move it over, flip it over, put on the bags, fill the bags, lift, and keep moving. And the people behind you are tying the bags to transport them out of the way. And then they have this one that is also common in the military, an express bagger. And you can, with trained people, get up into the neighborhood of 400 bags an hour with a group of people working. Take the bag, slide it onto the bottom. When the bag is half full, close the bag, pass it to a helper. Since there is a perfect size for the bags, half full is it, so that you can form it. Filling the bag all the way to the top as high as you can get it and choking it off makes a sausage roll, but it does not make a sandbag.
So with this machine, it looks like, at least 3 people. You'd want 2 holding bags and 1 shoveling in.
That is correct, but it goes so fast that once the shovelers we actually use a shoveler per side.
Okay.
And then we have a person pass the open bags to the people that hold the bags, and then they swing it to the side once it's got the 40 pounds of sand in it. And you actually have 2 more people because they're producing so many bags that you're having to tie them and put them on the pallets to get them out of the way.
So you have a real system, not just with 3, but you've got all the support helping this happen fast.
Otherwise, the bags just stack up, and then you slow down because they're in the way. We fill pallets in minutes with this machine. The first side right here is how to use the tube sandbagger. Turn it upside down, put the bags on, turn it over, fill it up, lift it off, and you have your properly filled bags to half full. That's how you operate this one. And then the bottom display shows the two different types of bags that are common, and then them in place and how to lay them correctly. And then if you want to add additional water stopping ability, you can also use plastic sheeting. And this shows all of those possibilities. It shows you that the 75 to 80 pound bags are just too heavy. It will hurt your back and other things. And that the 35 to 40 pound bags like this one is perfect because it can be formed into a brick or a paver, which makes great seals and is also movable. When you are making a large barrier for stopping water moving or stagnant, you make it into a triangle shape and you break the joints just like you do on brick so that they're stronger. And it's actually called a bond. I just learned that yesterday, that the tying the two bags together with the bag on top staggered is called a bonding motion. And so the bags are put in a certain way, and then when you get through, you can, if it is still water, you can lay plastic sheeting across the front, hold it down with a row of bags, and put a row of bags on the top, which is the cap bag. And then you get very efficient water stoppage. If you have water that is moving or has debris, sticks, et cetera, floating, the problem with that is that the exposed plastic will be punctured by that moving material. And so what you do, and what you see in here, is they actually put the bag inside the mound so that the outside bags are protection for the plastic. And your plastic will last longer and seal tighter. If you add the sandbags with the plastic sheet and you have a very short, less than 3 total sandbags, you trap the plastic sheeting underneath the bottom bag, you wrap it, and then you put a bag on top, which is called the cap. But that is only good for up to 1 feet tall. If you go higher than that, you have to get into the more complex patterns you see here. The problem with these overfilled bags, I call them ballast bags, is they will not form. It's like wrapping clothes around a big person. It's not going to look nice. This will not form into a safe shape. And so I'll show you the two problems. The first thing you do when you're laying the bags is the neck is untied so that you can put the neck in the correct location. The second thing is they want to leave it tied because it's so full that you can't untie it safely, it'll just spill out. And then when you put these together, no matter how much you beat on them, you will still see that there is a leak spot here and here. And then go ahead and step on it, Jonathan. You see how the bag will not lay down and make a seal. So you have no seal here, no seal on the ends. Go ahead and spin that bag around. And you'll notice that even here, the bag can't be formed at this part to make a good seal either. When the bags are properly filled, they're between 1/3 like this one or 1/2 full like this one. This allows you to do two things. You untie the top of the bag, and then you fold the top of the bag over. There are two different plans here. And then you take and either walking on it or with your hands, you lay the bag down, and then with the direction of flow of the water come in this direction. You have the open end of the bag away from the flow of the water. You fold the bag in half, and then you square up the bag. And normally you don't have the wind happen when you open it. You put on the second bag. You will see here that we're getting a tight joint all the way across. And these are actually forming a paver or a brick. And then you do the same thing again, and you fold the bag over, nail your next bag, your next bag. When you get to the end of the row, the last bag, the neck is actually laid underneath it. And you can form it like we're doing here if you will just step on it, Jonathan. Yep, just like that. You can form it with your feet and make a seal. Now the reason this is important for water is you have a long 14-inch wide seal, where with the overfilled bags you have gaps all over. And then if you're a soldier, you want that sealed so that when something's trying to hit you, it cannot get through all that sand. When you're laying the second layer, it is important that you straddle the bag over each of the bottom bags. This creates a bond between the two layers. Go ahead and step on it. And then you lay the second row just like you did the first row, but you tie the two bags together. Never stack them till they're stacked like this, because now you've created a bigger space here for a leak.
Jim, why don't you take us up to your place and show us, you've got a nice demonstration that you can show us about how this can be done effectively. So let's head up there.
So what we're going to do first is we're going to show the correct bags that are already in place, and we will pour the water behind it, which is colored with a bluing agent so that you can see the water better. And then we'll be able to see the water flowing through the bags and how much better one bag does than the other. And stop about right there. Yep, thank you. Now if you can look with your camera, you'll notice even with the better bags there are small leaks. You'll see some water flow over here close to Jonathan, and there's a small trickle here. There's a crease in the manufacturing of these bladders for these totes. And then if you time this, when I did these tests earlier, we were between 6 and 8 minutes until the water had gone through with the better bags.
And that's really what we're looking for, is it's a rate of flow, and if you can shut that off as much as possible, it makes a huge difference.
And then when you lay your sandbags, if you're on a hill, is you always leave the bottom open so that you're stopping the water coming down the hill or down the path, and you're diverting it around the structure, but you don't make a complete moat around it, because all the water that gets inside the moat is yours and you get to keep it. So if you can, you leave it open, or you have a pump that is pumping it back out. Now if you'll get your camera hit a little closer, where you had larger streams before, now it's just down to a little bit just here, there's a little bit over there. The plastic is sealing and making the seals, and where it's struggling, as you see, is against the plastic wall. Now what you see in here is the same overfilled bags that weigh 80 pounds and hurt your back and are hard to deal with, but they don't seal because they don't have enough fabric to stretch and lay into the bricks like you saw us bringing out of the others and that we made down at the sandbagging area with the properly filled bags. So now we're going to put the water in and see how long it takes to flow through the improper bags.
And we did some pretty good work on this with the stick to try and get that packed in there, but it's still moving pretty fast.
The bags being overfilled, they can't bend and twist and meet together. Another thing about sandbags that I learned in this is that the sand inside in a properly filled bag will actually fill with water and then move to the flow and plug its own leak a given time. And your half the water is gone right now, which is only a minute, minute and a half. And if you were trying to deal with that 5 gallons a minute leak over this small a barrier
section, yeah,
you'd be
yeah.
pretty soon you'd have to say, well, we're gonna have to replace the sheetrock, the insulation, and the carpet.
And that's what it comes down to, really, is it's doing it partially, but not enough to keep from having some problems, and perhaps serious problems.
That flooding is such a you think that I can stop that, and you really can't. But we're literally out of water.
Yeah, we're down where there's no real gradient.
Yeah. It's still flowing, but I'm just saying, you see how fast it was?
Yeah.
And with the other one, you're talking 6 minutes with the correctly filled bags to do this same amount of water. And then with the plastic and that, you're talking over 10 minutes, and I got tired and cut.
Yeah.
I just said,
That's enough.
that's enough. 10 minutes, and there's not enough flow there. You could barely tell it was in there with the plastic and the correctly filled bags correctly placed. Now with the plastic, even the bad bags are a lot better. Just anything. One more to put over here for a cap. Yep. And all these, the purpose of these is just to hold the plastic in place.
In spite of our best efforts, we've got a lot more water coming down.
And that's with the plastic. When you see it without the plastic, it's like, as fast as you put the water in, it's gone. And as you see here, there are many bags that are ready to be used, and perhaps we have taught you some ways that you can use them more effectively using the correctly filled bags, correctly placed bags, and then you can get all the benefits of a sandbag protected area.
And we want to thank Jim for his time to talk to us about this, because for most of us, it's not as intuitive as would be desirable. So yeah, we definitely want to do it the right way to make it easier on us and to make it more effective. And now for the question of the day. What experience do you have making and using sandbags? Share with us. Comment below. And thanks for being part of the solution.